3 decades after Tupac Shakur was killed, audio played in court named the person who allegedly shot the rapper. Dwayne Kefedi Davis is on trial right now, accused of orchestrating Shakur's murder. Jurors heard audio yesterday from a 2008 police interview where Davis told detectives he passed the gun to his nephew, Orlando Anderson, who he said fired the fatal shots.
Now, Anderson was a member of the Southside Compton Crips, and gang dynamics have been front and center during this trial. Joining us now to talk about the influence they've had on this case and the latest in the trial is former Department of Justice prosecutor Neama Rahmani. Thank you for joining us, Neama.
Of course. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course. This trial has so much going on. Let's start with that recording from the interview where Davis admitted his role in Tupac's shooting. Davis is now saying he lied to investigators to gain leverage. He was facing potential life sentence on drug charges, you have to remember back then. What's going on here? Because his defense even called what he said in that interview BS, which is strange because then how do we believe anything that he says?
Sheba, I've never seen a case like this. I can tell you the prosecution in their opening statements, they come out and say Davis is a criminal mastermind, the shot caller, a key member of the Southside Compton Crips. And then you have the defense come in and basically say, like you said, their own client is a liar.
Right. It's crazy.
He's full of crap. I've never seen anything like it where the prosecution is trying to build up the defendant and the defense is trying to punch down on their own client. Yeah. But the reason this is because the case is based entirely or almost mostly on Davis's own words and confessions that are being used against him.
But I was going to say, this is somewhat kind of genius, isn't it, by the defense? Because you know, it goes to the jury. If I was a juror, I would think that I would maybe have some doubt here as to what was going on, because as you're inserting all of these things, it's like, what is fact, what is fiction here?
Oh, it is. And look, they have a ready-made story. 2019, Davis put out a tell-all memoir, right? So the defense is arguing that he's just trying to sell books, and he was involved in a BET documentary. So they're saying that this is someone who is trying to increase his stature in the gang culture and community. And frankly, he's just doing this to make money, but he wasn't the shot caller. In fact, they're saying he wasn't even in Las Vegas on the night Tupac was shot. They say he even lied about being ringside at that Mike Tyson fight. So unless the prosecution can corroborate some of these confessions, they're going to have an uphill battle here.
Wow. And I feel like to really be into this case and understand it, you have to go back to 90s gang culture. We started talking about the Compton Crips. We also heard from a former Mob Piru Bloods gang member who said he was hesitant to provide details because there is this culture of silence, which seems to keep coming up in this case. How does all that factor into what we're seeing play out here 30 years later?
Sheila, it's huge. On day one of testimony, there was a police officer who rode in the ambulance with Tupac. He asked Tupac, who shot you? Tupac said, I'll take care of it myself. Of course, he succumbed to his injuries days later. And we know that Suge Knight is a key player. He was driving the vehicle that Tupac was in. He, of course, is not snitching either, which makes this case very difficult because everyone else in Davis's vehicle, the white Cadillac that pulled up to Tupac's BMW, they're all dead, many of them through gang-related violence.
Wow. Okay, so along those lines, when you look at violence and rivalries, has much changed since the 90s here?
I mean, I think so. One big change is from a prosecutor perspective is even though that culture of silence remains, we have amazing technology, right? Cell phone evidence, wiretaps, undercovers. So law enforcement has an advantage now that they really didn't have in the 90s. One of the challenges in this case, Jamie, is look, there's no ballistics, there's no DNA, there are no fingerprints, right? It's a 30-year-old case. That makes it a lot harder to prosecute. I think with changes in technology and better understanding, law enforcement is able to infiltrate these gangs and prosecute them better.
I think that's, you forget how much the technology has changed
and
since
how
the
much
1990s.
time has passed. I was talking to a friend yesterday, like, why are we talking about Tupac's murder again? I was like, all because of this book and someone wanted to tell a story. Well, Neama, we appreciate your insight here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
You too.